and classic holiday tunes from the most wonderful time of the year as the CSO is joined by the CSO Chorus, Metropolitan Bells, and guest vocalist Dee Danasco. Pictures with Santa will be part of the festivities. Tickets are available by calling 423-267-8583 or online at ChattanoogaSymphony.org.
The station you hear everywhere.
Cougar Radio 92.7.
Good morning, beautiful people here in the city of Chattanooga. It's your girl, Marie Mott with the Marie Mott Show. Y'all know what it is. I'm taking it from the streets to City Hall to the mayor's office. Can't leave out the police department. From the valley lows to the mountaintop, give you guys a bird's eye view to what's going on here in the city of Chattanooga. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Y'all know what it is. It's another Friday. We made it to the end of another week. It has been a busy week. It has been a rather interesting week. It has been a week of truths, of demands. Yesterday, while I was on the show with Mr. Reginald Clack, a wonderful photographer and business entrepreneur, there was the press conference going on with Mr. Charles Toney, known by his stage name as Interstate Tax, about his case. And the demands were that first, the sheriff needs to fire his deputy, and that the district attorney should have Neil Pinkston, since he loves going after quote unquote gang members, that the sheriff stated that he either wants to run out of town, lock him up, or put him in a casket. He didn't say, as so many people love saying, the sheriff is a good man. The sheriff is a godly man. How are you a godly man if you don't extend grace to people? I want to question that. You're not a godly man if you know that if you know that people get into gangs in the first place for protection, really. But you wouldn't understand that if you're not from an area that has a gang problem. You got to understand, why do people get into gangs? They don't get into gangs because they got nothing better to do. They get into gangs because they're poor. They get into gangs for protection. Come on. They get into gangs because they need to make money to be able to take care of themselves, because there's no job opportunity, and they go to school and the school systems are failing them, not preparing them for real life. Come on now. But if you don't talk to the people who experience these problems, what you'll do is think that the only thing they deserve is death, jail, or to be ran out the city that they're from. How is that a godly man? And lo and behold, people want to act like we don't have a law enforcement cultural problem here in the city of Chattanooga. I had the opportunity last night to have a dialogue called Art Plus Issues. Shout out to the Hunter Museum for having me and inviting me to be able to talk about a sculpture that I picked out and related to the fight for justice and social activism. And in the middle of me having a dialogue with community members, my phone was blowing up with notifications because we had a police officer arrested for soliciting a prostitute. Now, how was it? 800-8949. Let me not do my job and make sure that you know how you can call in and talk to me today. Today we're going to be moving at a fast pace today, so keep up. If you can't look at the whole live stream, either on the Nooga Radio 92.7 FM. Good morning, Chris Clanton. Shout out to you. Good morning. Please like it, share it, save it, so you can come back later, because I have not had an opportunity, maybe the past 2 weeks, to do Know Your Rights Friday. So I had to get back to what I started, which is Know Your Rights Fridays, the things that people love talking about, love hearing. I'm giving context. You don't hear this on any other radio station. Breaking it down, talking about today is constitutional sheriffs and constables. One of the things that we have demanded, and I'm glad that I have people in my life who challenge me to think more than the social standard or the social norm. Someone in my life challenged me this week and said, Marie, I understand that you are backing other community members for an oversight board, but I want you to think about something, and I want you to consider something, because I want you to dig beyond the surface so people can really solve the problems that we're having. And of course, I don't mind being challenged. I don't mind sitting down to people and digging beyond the surface. He said, I'm from a city where we had oversight boards and it started out good. Now, this is not to discount what people are talking about, but I'm glad that somebody challenged me to think about this. So maybe we can think about going beyond the surface of how we're going to solve our problems. Like, what he said was, when the oversight board started, it started off well. Everything was cool. It's doing some level of work. But after a while, people started paying off members of the oversight board. What are you going to do to make sure people aren't corrupted? And what do you do if the oversight board gets to a point that where they start backing the police officers who we all know as citizens are guilty of crimes, and they say from the oversight board standpoint that they were justified in doing things such as this sheriff did, which was beating this man? And I had to stop and think. I couldn't get offended. I didn't take it personal. I had to think, are human beings corruptible? Yes. How do I know that they're corruptible? Our own elected officials, such as our city council persons and our county commissioners, have refused to call this what it is and call the sheriff and the district attorney into accountability for these actions, and to fire that officer and indict him on charges, and to ensure that they encourage the public to understand that there are consequences for the actions of police officers, just like the citizen. And I couldn't argue with that. He said, Marie, consider, instead of an oversight board, why do we need the Chattanooga Police Department anyways? And so I continued to talk to him. And of course, when people start sparking my interest or something, my brain starts going, I start thinking. And he knows anytime he challenges me, I'm going to do my research. And so I want to talk about it today. Why do we even need the Chattanooga Police Department? Why do we not have just one law enforcement body where we don't have to have this secondary board watching them? The moment the sheriff doesn't do what we want him to do, we recall his seat or we do not elect him anymore. Because let me just ask you a real question. Who is responsible? And you can call in 800-8949 if you want to talk to me. Who is responsible for the municipal cop, and what is the municipal cop responsible for? Call in 800-8949. Who is responsible for the municipal officer, the Chattanooga Police Department, and what is the Chattanooga Police Department responsible for? Because I think a lot of people, and this is not any citizen's fault, right? We're not taught any of this in school. Nobody sits us down and it really questions us on why are we giving power to people who should never have it in the first place, and then wonder why we have problems. Chattanooga Police Department, you know what they should be doing? The only thing that they should be doing is writing citations. That's it. You parked illegally. They printed out a ticket and put it on your car. They should have no guns. Come on, no tasers. They should not have the power to arrest anybody. And you know what says this? The Constitution. And I said, dang, I know I've been covering the Constitution, but why did the founding fathers frame it this way, that they didn't want these police factions? Because they had already been through this with the King of England, who had set up his own private army, kind of like the mayor has his own private army, which is the Chattanooga Police Department. Think about this. Come on, we got to go back. They had already been through this, where the king basically was infringing on the rights of people. You know, it used to be a time during the 1700s where the only thing that we did was we worked with one another, and it was usually the citizen that stopped the crime. Meaning, let me take for example, let me use my buddy Hannah. Hannah sees somebody breaking into her neighbor's house. She doesn't call the police. There is none. You know what she does? She rounds up everybody in the neighborhood because maybe she's scared to do it by herself. She calls everybody in the neighborhood, and everybody comes with bats and clubs and guns, and it demands that this person who's robbing their neighbor to come out with their hands up, and the people arrest this person. Come on now. It was the responsibility of the community to police the community. So when we really talk about that, I got to ask us to think about why, if we want the community to police the community, why are we asking for half measures? Why don't we go all the way and close down the Chattanooga Police Department for good? I know folks are going to think I'm absolutely nuts. Maureen wants to close down the Chattanooga Police Department. I can already imagine that people who are listening to this, their mind is going to complete pandemonium. Oh, if we close down the police department, oh, people are just going to go crazy. Crime is going to go. And that's the line that we get fed all the time. You know what can happen? The sheriff's department can absolve some of these folks and put them through training to see if they want to be a sheriff. And what that does is, I'm not saying that the sheriff's department here in Hamilton County is any better, but what I'm saying to you is that we don't have to go to two split factions about problems. And we don't have this buddy-buddy system that's set up where both of them depend on one another to cover up each one's corruption. You understand? My phone should be blowing up right now. My phone should really, really blow up right now. Because there are other places throughout this country that have entirely shut down the municipal police department. And the people have only one place to go to. I'm just saying. I'm just asking people to talk to me about this. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Talk to me.
Hey, so I heard what you were saying about the community policing. Mm-hmm. My biggest question, especially thinking about the mindset of people today, I feel like there'd be a lot of pushback of, well, how do we actually implement it in today's day and age? Is there any other communities or if it's seen in any other states where it's actually done effectively? And then I feel like for people to really jump onto it, there needs to be a plan, right? So how do we train our community to be able to police itself? Because right now we're so used to, calling the police when we need help or if we see something. What does it look like to have a city where we call upon people like the sheriff or, our community?
Absolutely. A good example of that would be the 10,000 Fearless with the Nation of Islam. And I know people are going to flip out because I'm using this as an example, but it's true. Like in the South Side area where it is very impoverished here in the city of Chattanooga, Kevin Muhammad with the Nation of Islam and the 10,000 Fearless, first of all, they're right there in the community. So they understand what the community needs are. They understand the people who are in that community. They understand the poverty. They understand what poverty breeds. And so because the Nation of Islam in the South Side of the city has built a relationship with the people, they don't have any guns, no weapons. They don't have this sophisticated telephone system. You know what they do? When they hear somebody, they've built, first of all, it takes building a relationship with people in the community. When I look at or quote unquote community right now in the city of Chattanooga and all across the nation, we don't get out. We don't talk to one another anymore. We don't fellowship with one another anymore. Like, this is things that we used to do when I was growing up here in the city of Chattanooga. I knew all of the young people who lived on the street because we played together. We did homework together. My grandma fed them. Other people on the street fed us. So the community would talk to one another. If something was going on, one or two people in the community would call one another. And in 30 minutes, the entire street is informed of what's going on. The first thing we got to get back to doing is talking to one another and fellowshipping with one another. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Talk to me.
Maria, I love what you're doing. There's a chill factor in Chattanooga, I think, because people are afraid to speak. We have such great communications today that we didn't have years ago. But the NSA and other government agencies have put people in this position to cower. And that's why your phones aren't blowing up. They're afraid to speak. Chattanoogans have been neutered. It does work. I was so infuriated at the end of 2002, I believe it was, on New Year's Eve, when a police department, in conjunction with a sheriff's department and a state police and the ATF on New Year's Eve, were doing checkpoints, not just sobriety, Nazi fascist checkpoints. And I received in the mail a press release saying they were calling those checkpoints wolf packs. That's what the Germans called their airplanes and submarines that attacked and killed our soldiers. I got on the phone with them and said, I am offended by this. You are showing that you're Nazis and fascists. Your police department will be put out of business. And it was. And it was. We started a movement. The police department was put out of business, and the sheriff absorbed the police department. Let me tell you what the system does. And thank you so much for being a constitutionalist. It tries to reach people to say, Jefferson was a slave owner. The founding fathers, blah, blah, blah. So you ignore them so this can continue. You see what they try to do with the so-called left? Oh, forget about those guys. They're just a bunch of white slave owners. They don't have anything good to say because they try to cover up what could make this country great. Marie, one more thing.
Yes,
there were
sir.
no black gangs in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, or 70s. They were all white gangs. All white. No black gangs. When whites started getting wealthy and pulling themselves out of the city into the suburbs, they were replaced by poor black people who were abused primarily by Democrats in the system and welfare to have an endless cycle of dependency. And because of that, the gangs arose. And I was in a white gang in the 60s to protect myself. So I wasn't shot or stabbed. So I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you, Marie. We love you.
No,
nothing you can do about it.
Thank you. I love you guys too. I guess the thing that I want to get to is that if we want to get to, because I think for a lot of activists, I've heard this, and I just really want people to think about this. Number one, if we want to get to a community or society without police, and I think a lot of people are really getting there if they're not there already. We want to get to a place without police. Without police. How do we get to that world? Because that's a bold request. And what that means is that we as the citizenry has to step up. I'm being real. If we're going to get to a world without police, that means we police ourselves. And that means that we stand up when we see somebody doing something wrong. The community comes forward, and our job, with the exception of a capital crime, is not to punish them, but to help them and give them grace and to show them that they don't have to steal from us because we can employ them. They don't have to. Come on. So it's a bold request to say that we want a world without police. How are we going to have a bold request of a world without police if we don't request bold steps and measures? And the thing that the thing that I did appreciate when somebody asked me the question is that I do understand the system is corrupted. And if the system is corrupted, the system is complicit. The system is complacent, and the system props up one another because it's so much money in this and there is slavery in this. Do you think our council persons have already said that they're interested? And I had to ask myself, why did our council persons, I really did have to ask myself this question. Why did our council persons state that they were going to start talking about a police oversight board without the community? Because they know that people can be bought. And I think we have to think about that. So if we know that people can be bought in juries, if we know that police can fabricate evidence, if we know that the sheriff will suppress evidence, it's kind of difficult for us to fight, number one, fight two fronts. But then the question also becomes, why would we set up a secondary measure when at the end of the day, we still do not have a permanent impact on this police department? And really and truly, is it going to stop them from shooting somebody in the back? I'm just asking. Is it going to stop them for what they're doing? Because the world's eyes have been on Chattanooga. And I got to ask this question. Do we really, truly believe that this is going to work to stop what is going on and to get us to a world without police? Or maybe should our bold request be, why do we need the Chattanooga Police Department anyways? And if they're going to exist, the only thing that they should be doing is writing people tickets. They don't need guns. They don't need tasers. They don't need bullets. They don't need handcuffs. They're just writing people tickets. That's it. And making them show up to court. And eventually the court system is going to collapse because they can't handle the weight of the world that's going on anyway. I'm just asking, maybe it's the bigger request that we just have one place to go to. And the moment that the sheriff steps out of line, we ain't got to go to the mayor. We ain't got to go to the city council. The moment he steps out of line, we can recall his seat. We cannot elect them again. There's not these channels that we have to go through to try to figure this out. Just asking the questions, because I do want to think about this. And I appreciate Hannah, who said that even her uncle asked her the same question. And so I really want to think about this, because I believe that we don't need police. I believe that. And most crimes that are being committed, they're nonviolent in the first place. Why do we need police? Just think about that. Stay tuned for the second half of the segment.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news. Now.
A victim was shot on Chamberlain Avenue last night around 7:15. The victim hospitalized in an unknown condition. Details are limited as police are still investigating. If you have any information about what happened, give the police a call at 698-2525. A Chattanooga police sergeant is the subject of an internal investigation after reports say he solicited prostitutes. Sergeant Peter Turk placed on administrative leave pending the completion of the investigation. He was taken into custody in a joint task force operation between the CPD Vice Squad and the TBI. And another earthquake hit Tennessee just a day after the record-breaking 4.4 magnitude quake, which rocked the Tennessee Valley. Reports say a more common 1.1 earthquake rattled residents of Decatur. Small quakes, not uncommon, but they seem to be more frequent as time goes on. Val St. John for Nooga Radio, News Talk 92.7, Action News Now.
Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 p.m. on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
Hey folks, Jeff Stiles here, talk radio host and infamous technophobe. But I got to tell you, this Facebook Live that Nooga Radio does, it makes sense to me. It really does. Now, we're at 92.7 on the FM dial, but really where you need to go is NoogaRadio.com and just do the streaming audio, 8 to 10 a.m. The first hour is mostly just me just throwing commentary in on top of the news. The second hour is me frustrating and irritating you beyond all belief. NoogaRadio.com. Don't miss it. Every weekday.
You want more business. You want to increase your bottom line. You want to spend less on advertising, imaging your business, and general expenses. You need Trade Bank. When you join Trade Bank, you'll get the benefit of free advertising in our monthly magazine, TradeBank.com, emails, and mailouts. Join Trade Bank now and receive your Trade Bank debit card with trade credits to spend any way you want. Trade Bank of Chattanooga. Call now for a free consultation. 877-2202. That's 877-2202. Trade Bank of Chattanooga.
Your home is a constant work in progress. Repaint the walls? Yeah, easy enough. Leaky faucet? There's a video for that. But roof repair? You might want some help. That's where Chattanooga Roofing Contractors come in. They have 3 generations of roofing excellence you can count on. Leave the ladder in the garage. Go to chatroofing.com. That's chatroofing.com for Chattanooga Roofing Contractors, a roofing company you can trust.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. This is your sandwich speaking. Yeah, your sandwich. And you know, you can't find me any place but the Mad Philly Sandwich Shop. Mad Philly Sandwich Shop, just off 153 on Shaliford Road. It's in the little plaza. Hey, check out these buns. Yeah, they're Amorosa. All the way from Philly. So bite me. You want a real Philly cheesesteak? Check out my meat. Throw some cheese on it and grilled onions. Oh, yeah. Now that's what I'm talking about. Only at the Mad Philly Philly Sandwich Shop, where you'll always get the real taste of a Philadelphia cheesesteak. Plus hoagies, burgers, sandwiches, salads, fresh cut fries, tater tots, and other stuff. Man, Philly Sandwich Shop, just off 153 on Shaliford Road, right across from Mountain View Service Center. It's in the little plaza. Hey, come on, we're waiting for you here. So just shut up and eat it.
Man, you sure you know what you're doing?
Yeah, I worked with my dad on his truck all the time. Just one more bolt to go.
Yeah, wrong bolt. Today's truck ain't your daddy's truck. For repairs on today's vehicles, you need Amco Transmission and Total Car Care of Chattanooga on Lee Highway. Stay on the road, not in the garage. Amco Transmission on Lee Highway. Get it done the right way. The Thompson Pet way. Yeah, I just put that anywhere.
Cloudy skies with scattered showers out there for your afternoon. A little breezy out there from time to time. Highs lower to middle 50s. Tonight, more scattered showers, some late fog, lows only 48 to 50. Cloudy Saturday with a few showers tapering off late. Highs lower 50s. Drier for Sunday. Lot Dodge City Ski Shop keep you and your family toasty warm all winter long with the largest selection of cold weather clothing around. From long underwear, wool socks, and Columbia jackets, Dodge City, East Rayners Road, Chattanooga. And I'm Storm Dean Wall, Chief Meteorologist, Master 4.
The Radio 92.7.
This year, 2018, here in the city of Chattanooga, I've seen more police officers in the news than I have seen any gang members in the news. And what does that say? I think we need to look at the police department as the biggest gang here in the city of Chattanooga, and not none of these poor, impoverished young people who are just trying to protect themselves and survive. Now, if you want the proof of this, all I'm saying is that I want there to be success. I do. I want there to be success, and the thing that I can honestly say about boards, implementations and different things like that, they change. They do change. And if we know that we have juries that often punish people for crimes that do not call for the time as far as the crime, we don't have jury nullification. I've talked about that on the show. Nullifying a law, because even though a person committed the crime, the time does not equate to the crime that is done. And can we acknowledge that in particular, when we talk about young African-American men, of which we've locked up young black men, we locked up more black men in America than we have locked up women worldwide. The majority of African-American men who are filling up our prisons and who are currently in prison are in prison for nonviolent crimes. What does that mean? They went to jail, maybe if they were even wrong, but the time did not equate to the crime that they did. And understand in the beginning, the intention of the founding fathers was to ensure, number one, that we have mercy amongst one another. But number two, hold on, caller, I'm gonna get you in just a second. And number two, in the moment that a person commits a crime and we the people want to have mercy on them, we have that right to say that even though the law states this, the community says that they should go free. And we give them mercy. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Talk to me. Hello?
Hi, good morning. Yes, my name is Caitlin. I was just calling to send a card for Nash.
You were just calling to what? I'm sorry?
Send a Christmas card to Nash.
Send a Christmas card to Nash. Inbox the station. Go to the Nooga Radio 92.7 FM Facebook and inbox the station, and we'll get you the information on how to get that to us. We got you covered.
Awesome. Thank you.
No problem.
So much.
So like 800-8949, if there, we need to talk to, we do, right? So one of the things that Caleb, the organization that started a community bail fund here did was, before they started their organization, they talked to other areas that had similar community bail funds to see what are the things that they did that worked, what are the things that they did that did not work, and has it been successful? And that's really the biggest question, because we can implement things all day long. The question is, what is the success of what we're looking to get out of what we're getting ready to start working on? And the question is I've got to ask, if we're not going to disinvest from the police department, if that's not going to be in line with what we're asking for, disinvest and disarm the police department and make them. But how? And the other question is how is the people going to make them when they don't serve? The municipal cop doesn't serve the people. The municipal cop serves at the will of the mayor. And according to our mayor, not has he single-handedly ended homelessness, our police department does not have a problem. Tennessee does have jury nullification. Well, anywhere can have jury nullification. That's based on, I don't think most people even know what jury nullification is. And let me just give people, if you're just newly listening to the show, jury nullification is a concept, but it's not really a concept, but it is actually a participatory action where members of a trial jury find a defendant not guilty if they do not support a government's law and do not believe it is constitutional or humane, or does not support a possible punishment for breaking the law. Right? One of the most beautiful letters I ever read was Martin Luther King's letter from a Birmingham jail. Martin Luther King went to jail for protesting bombings in Birmingham. Why did that man go to jail? Right? So again, there's this opportunity that we have in a jury for a serious crime, to where if we feel that the district attorney, the DA, says that that person should get life in jail because they had a kilo of marijuana. Did they kill anybody? No. Did they rape anybody? No. Did they chop up bodies? No. So what can a jury do? We can set them free, because we don't want that person who got caught with a kilo of marijuana going to jail for the rest of their life when they didn't harm anybody. You understand what I'm saying? And so one of the things that my mother talked about last night when we were having the dialogue about social activism, my mother loves the Civil War period. She's a documentary watcher. It's part of the reason why I love watching documentaries, why I love history, because my mother loves history, and in particular, the Civil War. And one of the things that my mother expressed last night, which I love that woman, she said, Marie, and we're really talking to the crowd, she said, the way that we understand how we can move forward is not really in information, but with stories. And one of the things that I did to understand not only how slavery caused, how slavery was for the person that was a slave, I read diaries and letters from slave holders to understand where their hearts were and what their beliefs were. And so we have to look at the beautiful side of something, but we also have to look at the ugly side of something. It's two sides to everything. And the thing that we should truly be working towards in our society is less government intervention. And I think that's what people are asking for when they say we want a world without police. What they're asking for is less government intervention. Because a lot of this that has unfolded has realistically unfolded within the last 120 to 150 years. Do you understand that there was a point in history where we didn't have police? There was no police department. There was nobody to call. There was just the citizen and community. And when we saw something happening, with the exception of it just being something just absolutely heinous, we worked with one another. So I talked about this a little bit earlier, but I want to continue to unfold this, is that one of the things that Charles Tony has asked for is for people to stand up and talk about and speak on what's happening. And people are scared. That's why my phone is so dry. People are scared. And he talked about this, and I said, dang. He said, people are sitting on boards, they get money, they do this, they do that. And at the end of the day, what has changed? Man, I got to ask myself these questions, because we do have an organization that's supposed to look out for the interests of people of color and marginalized people. And what did they do? Threw us under the bus. Why? Because people are corruptible. People are corruptible in keeping this system exactly where it is. And the moment we're talking about undoing this system, especially if we're talking about undoing this system completely, we're talking about stopping people's paychecks. We're talking about keeping people out of hundreds and hundreds of $1,000 houses and neighborhoods. We're talking about people who will no longer be able to send their kids to private school. Come on. Why do we want less government intervention? Because we know in the Wadey Suttles case, we had the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. We had the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We had the local police department, which was part of the problem. We had the sheriff. We had all of these government factions involved. And you know what? Maxine Cousins still died not having any justice for who murdered her father while he was in police custody. The Department of Justice. Yeah, the Department of Justice was involved in that case as well. So maybe instead of just a board, how about we start eliminating these factions of government, because we don't need them. And really their purpose is to surveil us, right? That's why they got to create fake. What is our Chattanooga Police Department doing? Raping people, beating people, murdering people, setting people up, perjuring against one another, and then going on Facebook and creating Facebook accounts so they can surveil people who are talking about and speaking against the atrocities that they're doing. We want to have a board over them, or why don't we just close them down, shut their doors completely? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Talk to me.
Good morning. I was just called a few minutes of your show. My name is Darren Chapin, and I wonder if you've ever heard the name Jesse Matthews.
I have not. Educate me.
You have not heard the name Jesse Matthews. 2001, Jesse Matthews shot my cousin right between the eyes. My cousin Tim Chapin, who is a Chattanooga police officer. And I'm wondering how in the world you can say that we don't need police when if we did not have police, there would be a whole lot more Jesse Matthews to deal with. You understand what I'm saying?
There will be a whole lot. There'll be a whole lot more Jesse Matthews because we don't have police.
Exactly.
I guess I'm not understanding. I'm not understanding how the police. When I say it, we don't need the Chattanooga Police Department. The Chattanooga Police Department, if you do understand, from a constitutional perspective, does not have the right to enforce state law. That is actually the job of the sheriff. And when we talk about eliminating the Chattanooga Police Department, what I mean by that is number one, this has happened all throughout the country because of issues like this. In particular, issues like this, Southport, North Carolina has completely closed down and suspended the police department because of arrests of the police chief, sergeants, and lieutenants because of an FBI investigation. An FBI investigation. Hold on one second, caller. I know it dropped, but hold on one second. Hold on one second, sir. So they completely Hold on 1 second. So they completely shut down the department because of corruption and FBI and SBI investigation. Okay, so I asked you to just hold on a second. You're just going to keep talking. So what they stated was, we will continue to work to ensure that the public receives the protection that it deserves, free from public corruption. Free from public corruption. It was still the sheriff, but this entire department was closed because they were stealing money, extorting people, serving false warrants and tickets to individuals. Good morning. Talk to me.
We keep getting disconnected. I'm sorry about that. I'm sitting still. I still didn't hear your complete explanation.
So what I said was, eliminating police departments has nothing to do with a sheriff. The sheriffs can still be in existence. And what that does is give the people one avenue to deal with law enforcement. And really, that is the legal ramifications of what a sheriff is supposed to do. A sheriff is supposed to enforce state law, right? And it's
okay.
The 10th Amendment. Let's look at this. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited to it by the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. The power belongs to the people. And the thing that I think we need to understand is part of the reason why there are things that go on in our society is because now more than ever, we have government intervention into just about every facet of our life. We didn't really have a lot of these problems until we started disinvesting in the inner city and we started sending people and factories and jobs and better education out into the suburbs. And now we're seeing this wave of people coming back into the city who are bringing gentrification with them, right? And it's still disinvested, disenfranchised, gentrified, red line. I mean, I've covered all of this on my show. The problem is that the more government intervention that we have, the less freedoms that we have, the more poverty we have. We have more poverty than any point in history. And that is even with social programs all across this country. And I think people have to understand is that there was a point in history where it was the responsibility of everybody to look after the community. It wasn't the responsibility of other people to do the job that that the community really should and can, in a lot of instances, with the exception of a capital crime, such as that person who murdered your family member. That is something that should be handled by the sheriff. So when I say cop and sheriff, two different duties, two different expectations, should be two different ways of looking at the individual. So let me ask you a counter question. What is the job of a municipal officer? What is their job? What are they supposed to do?
Municipal what?
For a municipal officer like the Chattanooga Police Department, what is their job overall?
Their job is to obey the law and follow the law and keep the peace, protect and serve. I'm not sure exactly what you're trying to get at here. And practically speaking, this utopia of communities looking out for each other, how would that be implemented at all? There's going to be police, and I appreciate that.
So I think people need to understand and the difference between police and the sheriff, because I think we think that they do the same job and that they have the same expectation, and they do not. That's why the only person that can stop a federal investigation, such as if the FBI decided they wanted to come down here and get in Mr. Charles Turnley's case, the sheriff can say, no, I'm going to handle this all in-house, which he should have done. What I'm saying to you is that is not the job of the Chattanooga Police Department. As a matter of fact, sir, look up Warren versus the District of Columbia. It was decided by the United States Supreme Court that the municipal officer only has one job, and that is to look out for his counterparts and to protect the city at large and never the individual. And that whole case happened because there were women that were being raped and police officers did not help them. Did not help them. What we're saying is that, yes, in a utopia, we don't want police at all. However, I do understand that we do need ways to address capital crimes such as the murder of your loved one. And realistically, a sheriff should be handling that, number one, to ensure that no other secondary government faction will come in and step in on what should be happening at a local level. But also because the sheriff is the only person that has the power, him and his deputies, to enforce state statutes. And so that is not the job of the Chattanooga Police Department, even though we have put a lot on the Chattanooga Police Department. They're supposed to do this, they're supposed to do that. That's not really their job. They're supposed to enforce municipal statutes, such as you can't add this much onto your house, you can't park this way, you can't do this, you can't do that. It has nothing to do with state statute. And really, a sheriff should have handled what happened to your loved one, as opposed to a Chattanooga police officer who, in most instances, even though I hope you got justice and maybe you did get justice, the truth of the matter is that the majority of people who have experienced problems here in the city of Chattanooga have not gotten justice. Cops have never, I think it's only one that's ever even been indicted here in the city of Chattanooga. Where are they held accountable? They're given the opportunity to resign, meaning that they continue to collect pension and benefits and get to go be an officer somewhere else, despite the fact that they may rape somebody, beat somebody, or perjure someone. I think we have to look at the overall relationship of police to people in the city of Chattanooga. And I don't think we can look at just 2018 and not even going back to Wadey Sotos, Javario Eagle, Adam Tatum, Chris Tate, people beaten, murdered, shot by the Chattanooga Police Department, and nothing ever happens. It's Marie Mott with the Marie Mott Show, just talking about it on Know Your Rights Friday. Y'all know what it is. If no one else has taken the time today to tell you that they love you, I love you. Absolutely nothing you can do about that.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
A victim was shot on Chamberlain Avenue last night around 7:15. The victim hospitalized in an unknown condition. Details are limited as police are still investigating. If you have any information about what happened, give the police a call at 698-2525. A Chattanooga police sergeant is the subject of an internal investigation after reports say he solicited prostitutes. Sergeant Peter Turk placed on administrative leave pending the completion of the investigation. He was taken into custody in a joint task force operation between the CPD Vice Squad and the TBI. And another earthquake hit Tennessee just a day after the record-breaking 4.4 magnitude quake, which rocked the Tennessee Valley. Reports say a more common 1.1 earthquake rattled residents of Decatur. Small quakes, not uncommon, but they seem to be more frequent as time goes on. Val St. John for Nooga Radio, News Talk 92.7, Action News now.
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio, Chattanooga weather.
Expect cloudy skies with scattered showers out there for your afternoon. A little breezy out there from time to time. Highs lower to middle 50s. Tonight, more scattered showers, some late fog, lows only 48 to 50. Cloudy Saturday with a few showers tapering off late. Highs lower 50s. Drier for Sunday. Black Dog City Ski Shop keep you and your family toasty warm all winter long with the largest selection of cold weather clothing around. From long underwear, wool socks, and Columbia jackets, Dodge City, East Brainerd Road, Chattanooga. And I'm Storm Jean Dwell, Chief Meteorologist, after 4.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
Looking for an easy way to give back and have some family fun on New Year's Eve? Join Chattanooga Ronald McDonald House for a Glow Run on December 31st, starting at the Downtown Sports Barn. It's one of Chattanooga's longest running 5K and 2-mile fun runs. It's been around for 40 years. The run starts at 7 p.m., so you still have time to go home and get ready for your New Year's plans. Register and run to help families at the Chattanooga Ronald McDonald House. Join Chattanooga Ronald McDonald House for a glow run on December 31st starting at the Downtown Sports Barn. Sign up today at KarenLawrenceRun.itsyourrace.com.
If you could wish for anything this Christmas, what would you wish for? Well, a Saudi Daisy family wished that $25,000 in credit card debt would disappear. Well, guess who got an early Christmas present? Listen up, y'all. I'm Ben Phillips with Home Rate Mortgage. I'm in the business of saving people money. And if you want to save money around Christmas time, pick that cell phone up right now. 805-9100. You're not going to believe how much you can save. Home Rate Mortgage just cleaned an installation manager's chimney, ridding his family of $25,000 in credit cards right before Santa delivers presents. The best part is Santa's going to be a little more merrier this Christmas because this Saudi Daisy family is saving $1,100 per month, and you can do it too. So give us a call today. It's time to get on the sleigh. 805-9100 or homeratemortgage.com.
Turn a house into a home rate mortgage.
Even if you like your job, there are some things that can drive you nuts, like the anonymous coward who steals your lunch from the break room fridge, or maybe Tyler, the IT guy, who gives you that condescending look when you tell him that your computer is acting up again, as if somehow it's your fault. You put up with these clowns every single day. But what happens when you've had enough? That's the day you decide to retire. At least that's the hope, right? But will you be able to retire? Can you afford to retire? That's why you need to talk to Ron and Christy Adams at One Family Financial. They can't do anything about Cody, that moron who heats up fish in the microwave, but they can strategize with you on how to get the most out of your 401k or pension, how to grow your money without losing your shirt in the market, and how to help make your money last in retirement. Talk to Ron and Christy today about whether you'll be ready to retire when you finally had